All right, we are live. We are a little late. This is catching us in the thick of it and how it actually operates during the week. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm exhausted. And unfortunately, Eric couldn't make it. Oh, wait, never mind. He's in. All right, good time. I thought I was gonna be solo, but all
No,
right,
we're good.
love it, love it. Well, I just sent it out. I sent out the email a couple hours ago, so probably not gonna be too many live visitors since no one had time to plan ahead, but. Yeah, just some announcements for those who are watching this after the fact. We're going to start trying to do lives twice a week, so a Sunday and a Wednesday. And I was kind of joking, just talking to the audience before you got here, just saying they're catching us in the thick of it. You know, it's midweek. We might be a little tired, a little run down, but we just keep trucking. It's not how hard you can hit; it's how hard you can get hit and keep going. A couple other things I want to say here is um, we do recognize. I just want to take a time to thank everybody that's participating and all of our viewers, all of our readers, all of our clients. It goes a long way. Like we started this not even a year ago, and I mean, we're up to like we reach like 80,000 people a month, and that's just so cool to think that the stuff we make. And when we were first sitting down having conversations in between clients, we are like, I bet people would like some of this stuff. And then we started the podcast and got like 10 listeners, and so just cool to see how we came this far. And we wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you so much for your participation. We're going to be doing the home gym giveaway drawing August 1st, so a little about like 6 weeks away. And we're going to be giving out 2 promo codes today because it is impromptu and I feel bad for giving people late notice. And we're also working on a collaboration with a group that has an app set up because we do recognize that sometimes the program on Excel can be a little on Google Drive can be a little cumbersome. It would be nice to be convenient. Get with the times. It's 2023, so stay tuned. We have more things coming for you guys. A lot of exciting things over here in the back end. I just feel like I always am trying to make really short, concise pieces of content to really deliver value to you guys. And I don't always get time to kind of slow it down. So this is a great opportunity. But I'm so happy Eric's here. And, we kind of talked about this as, Sunday's kind of my day to rant a little bit. And this is going to be the day for Eric to rant a little bit and kind of get into the zone. So I'm amped just waiting to hear what he has to say and what he has for us today. But with that being said, we're also going to be giving time at the end for any questions, so we can dive into anyone's personal issues they're having on their fitness journey or successes they're having they want to share.
Yeah, I think it's important that anytime anyone has a question that they can let that thing rip in the chat and we'll get to it. If it's pertaining to the topic, we can 100% get into it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's one of those things where people have questions, but sometimes they just don't know how to bring them to the table. And I think that's a good one because questions asked are always answers that are going to help. And you're always going to learn something, whether or not it goes down the road that you want it to, or you learn something arbitrary on the back end. And I think that's the important thing to understand for clients, to ask us questions of why we do things. And it's not just why we write certain exercises on a piece of paper. It's how you get into what the exercise is meaning. So an athlete asked me the other day, why am I doing alternating bench press? We started with alternating bench press. We got down to metabolism and carbohydrate metabolism and airway and breathing from a bench press. And I think people fail to realize when there's programs written, a squat is there for a certain reason. Everyone needs the ability to squat and the ability to drop into certain positions, just as an alternating bench press or push-up is taking a rib cage for a walk and improving air pumping mechanics circulation. A lot of people miss sight of that. And I think that's a very important topic from a postural standpoint, in a longevity standpoint, to understand that we're not just driving exercise programs for the sake of it. Now, yes, we both know some trainers and probably us at the beginning didn't really understand why we were doing some exercises. And they just throw things on a piece of paper because they know how to coach it well. They know how to do it well. And that's okay. Every coach needs to learn that. But as we go deeper into the science of things, every individualized program, every exercise that I pick has a meaning to that person. Right? I wouldn't give someone a front plank if it didn't have meaning to them, and I can't explain to them why we are doing a front plank.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of it has to do with kind of the applicability of what you're doing to the body. You know, it would be kind of great if you could just absorb everything and your body learns it, but just it's not how it works. It's like reading a book and preparing for an exam. Like it always helped when you had last year's questions or something because you were more directed and in terms of the context of the information you're looking for. It's the same thing when it comes to performing exercises. And really, it helps. A big piece of that is helping you be mindful in your time that you're spending on yourself. Because so many times people aren't in their workout. They're not present in their workout. They're listening to something or reading a book, and they're not even pushing themselves. They're not in their body, and they're not really pushing themselves to like that ability to get to that training effect. So, you know, just knowing what you're supposed to be feeling, how you're supposed to be operating, what the exercise is supposed to do, and then how it connects to the bigger picture, goes absolutely a long way. And I think just kind of piggybacking on what Eric is saying here, it almost is like promote curiosity and skepticism. Always ask why. Never lose that aspect, and especially with your workouts. I think too many people fall into the habit of they do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, and you know that's the definition of insanity.
Mm-hmm. And for tonight's episode, I wanted to take it down the road of why people need to do alternating exercises.
Okay.
We have this basis of coaching and insight of exercise of doing squats and bilateral movements, and then we do single leg movements, unilateral, single arm rows, single arm presses. But the ability to alternate back and forth from side to side, rep to rep, so a walking lunge, left leg, then right leg, an alternating dumbbell bench press, overhead press, anything alternating, rotating, alternating is where we're going to take that today, because this is going to be the basis for optimal performance, especially for people who are not really, let's call it not really at the peak of where they want to be, or they're looking for optimal health. And this is going to be paramount for moving fluid, lymphatic drainage, blood flow, oxygen. All this is important. Do you still have me?
Yeah, I'm
okay,
just
my computer's blacked out, so I think I'm still live.
Yeah, you're still live.
I can't see you, but I'm just looking at a black screen. But the importance of alternating, reciprocating activity to allows the system to flow back and forth, and it allows both sides of the brains to functionally operate from a different standpoint, because we have two halves, and the ability to pump things side to side is more important from a tissue quality standpoint.
I think a big predecessor that needs to be said is a baseline strength. And, you know, because we have a lot of people on our channel that, you know, haven't gotten started or just getting started. And there does need to be a baseline ability to like stabilize your pelvis, stabilize your rib cage, understand how to work, basically kind of multitask. You know, you're pushing and pulling at the same time, but while keeping everything engaged and not losing things, because that's when we can risk injury. So I think it is so important to get into unilateral work and bilateral work, have a combination of the both. But before you get ready to like do reciprocating rows or undulating or oscillating rows, again, I feel like you need a baseline stability first. So I want to just add that in. Like if you're someone who's already exercising, yeah, definitely throw these in. And it's so applicable to an athlete, who they should already be exercising anyway.
And sometimes
have that baseline strength is what I mean.
But sometimes you don't need the baseline stability. If it's lightweight, or just say someone who's older and they're just needing to move because everyone needs to walk and pump, and just a form of walking is reciprocating, not even load, right? So things
Right.
with forward locomotion, trying to get the people's mind thinking like it always doesn't have to be load from a stability point. Now,
Mm.
obviously, before walking, you do need to be stable. So you can do supported walking or hands somewhere to mimic that. But I think we get into this realm of, okay, alternating, reciprocating. Us as coaches, we go to the complex movements because that's how our brains
Yeah,
work.
that's how my
Some
brain
people,
works. Yeah,
some people just need like basic, like, hey, we're just going to do body weight walking lunges. We're going to do some sort of body
totally,
weight rotational
totally.
thing, or even adding rotation from a supine position, from a glute bridge with a
Yeah,
reach. So it doesn't, I know we say we have to add stability, but you can add stability with different positions, ground, walls, and be able to operate in that. Because you're right. You get upright and start moving side to side, and people don't have balance, that's going to be a problem. So, like everything else, you start with regressions and then you build up to that activity with load, because you can throw load on anyone and you're going to screw them up, especially from a tissue standpoint quality. And a lot of rotational exercises, I don't really like to load heavy because that's not the purpose of it, right? Heavy load creates rigid, stiff tissues. This is more of a movement variability. So you want to be able to move through space and create more rotational movement from side to side. So it's okay to go lighter weights. And if someone does have lighter weights, I love programming these in with people who, let's say their dumbbells cap out at 25, doing alternating presses or rows for more reps or time gets
right.
things moving more.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great way to add into the mix of lower intensity but still resistance training. Especially, one of the themes that I wanted to make Wednesday about was it being like a midweek check-in in a way. And so with that in mind, so sometimes we people can go a little hard or not have the best Mondays and Tuesdays, and then it's hard to kind of catch up on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But if you can win on Monday and Tuesday, it's really good. It's really easy at that point to have like a great week in terms of exercise and nutrition choices, all geared at the life you want to lead, or the performance you're trying to gain, the longevity you're trying to gain. Um, so being able to have workouts and styles of training kind of in your back pocket is great. And this is a great um, point to bring up. If you want to just maybe throw out some more exercise examples for people.
So a lot of them, when it comes to these, I like to program, I call them rotational days. So you're doing more of these base things on a day. So it could be like a simple one, alternating push-ups off of a step. You can use a textbook. It can be a 2-inch block, but moving side to side with some elevation. That's all it really takes. Alternating step
Yeah.
ups. You're going side to side, lateral step ups, alternating lateral shuffles on a step, on a plate, anything where you can move the body side to side, back and forth, when you go from left side to right side. And I do love, one of the best things that I really like to do is sort of like just retro walking, like backwards walking with a band. For activation standpoint, for glutes, hamstrings, this can be done for any populations because it's going to train forward locomotion and running mechanics. But that's how I really train a lot of these days. And these days are, because they're lower intensity, they're usually like my Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I do like what you're saying of like, hey, start the week off on a Monday and be really good at it, because that's going to set the tone for the week. And having conversations with some of my interns today, and we're talking about programming for Mondays. For most people, take athletes out of it. They go hard on Fridays because they have the weekends. Most people, let's say you have a lower end weekend, you go out on a bender 2, 3, maybe 4 days, you're having a rough time.
Yeah.
That Monday or that next day is sort of like you're going to set the tempo for the week. I always program for my athletes. It's like a high volume, high intensity day. Sorry, not athletes, general population intensity days. to make them understand that their choices over the weekend, that they're going to cost them. And I would do this over and over again on Mondays, especially when we were in the corporate world of people really setting the week. And it worked with those type of people, because they said, I'm going to set the tone. I'm going to demand a high energy Monday, where even if you don't have the energy, I'm going to demand that from you. We're going to push those limits so it can set the rest of the week up. And you always set a high standard. So even if you don't have a coach, you set that high standards for yourself. In our programs we write for individuals, that's what most Mondays are going to be. If you're looking to have that change, our Mondays are going to throw you kind of into the grinder to understand this is where we want you every week.
Well, and it's the same concept of working out in the morning. I see so many people who get stuck, who didn't schedule their workout first thing in the morning, or like Eric's saying, like have that day one, whatever your Monday is. Maybe you work over the weekends and your Monday is actually a Thursday or whatever. Day one has to be set in stone, and you crush that day one, and then you just start to build momentum for day 2, 3, 4, and 5. But yeah, so that being said, most people are going to get results and complete their transformation, hit the goals they want to hit, and live the life they want to live when they work out first thing in the morning, and when they crush Mondays. And so I want to just pause here real quick and give out the first promo code tonight. It's BIKE6, BIKE 6. We got one left. Thanks for tuning in tonight, everybody who came last minute. Appreciate it.
All right, throwing some bike at us. We hitting some assault bike workouts early mornings.
No, I just was trying to make promo codes that people wouldn't guess and kind of try to make them somewhat on topic. So that was that's what I have left.
But yeah, I totally agree with the early morning, because that does set the whole tempo for the day, and you don't get into time constraints because of things that might pop up. And this is always a hard one for people to try to digest. So when you say, hey, we're going to create more time for you, you need to get up at X time, 5:30, 5. Some people need to push that earlier, and that's hard for people to hear, because that's taking away from what they want to do. They want to watch trash TV until 11:30, or wherever they go to bed. They're going to pay the price if they do stay up and wake up early.
I don't even know if they necessarily want to stay up late. They just, it's like habits. Hard. What do they say? Old habits die hard. So I just think it's just hard for people to make that break. And then also another piece that I'm getting a pulse on, at least with kind of the surveys and stuff like that we have here, is just people, they don't know why they really want to make all these changes. It's kind of new. It's such an ember of desire to want to change, but they're not really sure why they want to change. And then all of a sudden they're faced with all of this resistance, because they're having to kind of go against the grain, go against their natural intuition, their habits, and some of their bad behaviors that they're now being more and more aware of. So I think it is kind of like something that has to grow until you kind of reach that tipping point where you're just like, that's it, I'm deciding. And it is such a mindset thing. We talk about mindset on this channel all the time. On that side of, the pain from your choice of not taking care of your health, taking care of your body, your mind, eating well, sleeping well, managing your stress levels. The pain from not doing all that stuff has to be worse than the pain of it trying to achieve all that stuff, right? And then you're like, oh, working out's fine. In fact, this feels great. And then you start to get addicted. You get that itch, and then you have really positive addictions, like adaptive behavior versus maladaptive behavior. So yeah, I think. But back to what you want. I feel like what you brought up was really important. The single arm work, undulating work, alternating work, like it is so critical, because we have so many natural asymmetries built up in our body. And something that I'm even experiencing is like going overhead. Anything that I do overhead, I'm a little bit forwardly rotated on my right side, and my left side is retracted back a little bit more. And I feel like some sharp pain if I go too heavy near my scap. And I can tell I need to create more of I need to take my rib cage like it's a big truck steering wheel, and I need to strengthen it in this position that's a little bit more to the left. Feel serratus, feel lat on my left side, feel my right side retracted back. And I think so many people don't become aware of little intricacies like that until they get hurt, like a bad injury or bad experience, and then they get to understand, oh, okay, I can't just do everything here all the time. I can't live in bilateral flexion all the time.
Yeah, and you see it walking around all the time. You see people turning feet out. People can't move. They're like not shifting side to side. They don't rotate. They like waddle forward.
I love you brought that up.
And that's a key sign when you do see that, or if you're someone who has that, to understand where you are not rotating. And pelvises need to rotate, spines need to rotate, heads need to rotate. When we start locking that up, you're going to cause very, very locked up patterns. And then you're also going to cause poor movement of everything else, and especially organs. Organs need to move, things need to flow. If you start locking that up, you're going to get like dead tissue that doesn't respond because it's not going to get blood flow or it's not going to get movement. And that's the basis of really why we want to create a lot of rotating movements or side to side movements in an exercise program. A lot of cardio machines get that. If you're using arms and legs, that's why one thing I do like about assault bikes or any kind of echo bike is you're pumping with the arms versus like just your average spin bike where you're not really doing much with your arms. Now, there's nothing wrong with it because you're still getting movement through your legs. But if that's your sole way of exercising, you're going to have to do some upper body rotational arm movement to supplement moving that. And all that means is when you're moving the arms, you're actually pumping air left lungs to right lungs, and you're circulating things better. When you just stay stagnant or seated in one position all day, things just don't operate well.
Yeah. And, we have 7 primary movement patterns, and one of them's gait. So this is perfect. This is right on with some of the content I've been putting out, Eric. And yeah, just it's so habitual in our nature, and and the line applies here of you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your highest level of preparation. Like you fall to the highest level of neuromuscular coding, essentially, in the way that you're moving your body, through space, and you're essentially doing like controlled falls, right? So it's very reactionary firing, and it can be wrong or have some asymmetries that are going to lead to injury, and that's why getting more movement out of your muscles is always going to be healthy, especially for those who are used to being very sedentary, because you're just getting that fascia to move around. You're getting all the kind of pulley systems of our skeletal muscle system working and flossing. So you're getting good mobility and good fluid to everywhere you need to.
It's one thing that's missed. Well, in a lot of industries or factions in this, like even in the strength and conditioning world, because a lot of people are chasing numbers of certain lifts, which is fine, but to be able to supplement for performance, because everything, if you look at performance is gait. Everyone walks. Most people walk. Everyone has some kind of form of gait. Even if you are in a wheelchair, you still are performing gait. You're just not walking.
Really?
Well, the mechanics of it. So if you're in a wheelchair you're using your arms to wheel, you're still using forward locomotion. You're still pushing yourself forward as a form of gait. You're just not walking. Right. So people who are missing legs, they still need to perform gait. So they still need to have the mechanisms of.
So you're saying this is gait? I just thought gait was legs. Interesting. Because I always knew it as like you're watching how someone walked.
Mm-hmm. It is. But if you take away someone has prosthetic legs, their legs aren't there, but they're still performing gait because they're still walking,
rotating around.
When you look at it from a section area, you can still perform gait just with different appendages. So when it comes to training, when you think, oh, hey, I'm just going to perform gait with my arms, it could be any kind of row, push, pull. I love a good cable push, pull machine. Those are one of my favorites. when it talks legs and gait, you can alternate lunges. You can do all these things to have gait. You can make gait standing on one leg while one is in the air, single leg deadlift, and you can swing that through, and now you can make it a movement. There's so many ways to create gait without actually walking. And this is the premise where I start people in like a retraining program, is you create different parts of gait, and then you start putting it together, and people realize that they're walking, their forward locomotion is going to change because now they have parts working. And then when they put it together in a whole, they're like, wow, I've never understood how off my gait was. Watch anyone walk. It will tell you a lot about that person or even yourself. Do your arms swing? Do you move your head? Where does your vision go? What is going on? And that'll teach you cues of how someone's trying to stabilize to figure out movement.
Yeah, I love how you brought up earlier about foot positioning. Because, just watching someone basically even get up out of a chair and go to stand, you can tell so much by their posture, their position of their feet, where their thumbs relative to their hands. That kind of tells you how their shoulders are going to be. How's their head, in relation to their pelvis. If they have a forward head tilt, is their pelvis behind? And then, adding to that, being able to watch someone walk. Just tells you so much kind of about their performance or where they're lacking strength usually where they're lacking structural integrity and tension. But last promo code I just wanted to announce that I did say, and the email is going to keep tonight short, but anyone is more than welcome to stay. We love having people here. Legs1, very topical, LEGS1. So that's the 2 promo codes tonight. And we got the giveaway coming for the home gym equipment, and coming in 6 weeks. And also more stuff coming, hopefully an app coming soon to a theater near you.
That's right. And then once you get settled with the app and get used to it, then you're just going to have your program right in your pocket. Right? Like
that's
everything
the idea.
else,
Convenience.
It's convenient. It's simple. You open your phone. We're going to direct you to do what you do. Hey, we have squats. We have whatever we're going with today. Squats, step-ups, push-ups, and some sort of conditioning. It's going to be right there. You don't have to think about it. Just like anything else. The less we have to think about it, sometimes the better it is. There's days where I like to jump on, a program that I don't really have to think about, what I'm doing. Someone's just going to say, hey, we're doing X amount of sprints today. Awesome. Well, let's do it.
And these programs are going to be, a combination of 40 years of personal training experience with who we're teaming up with. It's going to include some experts from Parisi Speed School, experts from Posture Restoration Institute, experts from CrossFit, experts from ACE and kettlebell certifications. Like, we got the best of the best coming to deliver the best workouts to help with people who are just looking for longevity, people who just want to get started and just lose weight, people who want to build muscle and get into their best shape, and then also for that performance side, that sports specific performance or that athlete. So we're going to have a whole kind of conglomerate coming soon with just now I got to dive into the details, but and really that is the whole concept, is making it as easy as possible. Right now it's so easy to just not do this stuff. It's so easy to forego your workout, skip your workout, buy fast food, slump back into your old ways. And I've been there. Like, it's a slippery slope, and those choices quickly lead to like self-loathing and depression and stuff. So it's just important to kind of catch it early, be proactive, and I think fitness has changed my life. So why not try to implement that in everyone else's life? And if we can make it as easy as possible, the more the better.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, I'm sorry I took like your stage here tonight, but I feel like we got a good conversation in on unilateral work, gait, so important to just overall movement. I think so many times we do think of like exercises as sitting in all these pieces of equipment that should be in a scrapyard in some of these big box gyms, and it can get overplayed. And you're just doing more of the same. Your body knows more of the same of just bad movement patterns and isolation and sitting. You got to teach our body to work under all the stresses of gravity, basically, and you got to prepare your body in this way that you're trying to become the warrior in the garden rather than the gardener in the war. You're not waiting until you live your life and then boom, this big injury comes, or oh, I'm so frail, because I didn't do anything and I just was trying to wait it out until I had to actually do something. You're trying to get your body to grow and progress year over year and get better with age. That's the goal.
Yep.
That's the idea.
Life is movement, and in order to have life, you have to move. So it's, you're either going to just sit there and do nothing and let life pass you, but in order to live life, you have to move. Or to be healthy, you got to move too. So it's one of those things where it's never going to be a non-option not to move at all. There always will be a component to it. So people need to understand that you have to start moving in some capacity if you want a life that's going to be qualitative.
Clint Eastwood is in his late 90s, and he said something recently. Somebody asked him, how do you keep doing it? And he just said, oh, every day I get up and I just don't let the old in. And it's such a mindset, and it's about staying active and staying in motion. And, another big key component to the Blue Zones is community, sense of belonging, sense of purpose, and connectivity. So you guys provide that for us, which I really appreciate. And so thanks for coming tonight. I appreciate everyone coming, even though it's super last minute. I got the 2 promo codes out already. We're still going to be doing our live on Sunday, and just stay tuned for more announcements. Thanks for being here. Much appreciated.
You got it, brother.
Crush the rest of the week, everybody. You got this. It's Wednesday. Crush it tomorrow. 2 more days, and then it's the weekend. Doesn't mean you can just binge out on pizza and stuff like that, but have good weeks, gain momentum, get consistency, get the results from the compound effect, and you'll win. Peace out, everybody.